मयि श्रीगुरवे नमः। ॐ विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्तस्वामिन्निति नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वती देवे गौरवाणि प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। सर्वशास्त्राब्धिपीयूष सर्ववेदैक सत्फल सर्वसिद्धान्तरत्नाढ्य सर्वलोकैकदृक्प्रद सर्वभागवत प्राण श्रीमद्भागवत प्रभो कलिद्वान्तोदितादित्य श्रीकृष्ण परिवर्तितः परमानंद पाठाय प्रेमवर्षक्षराय ते सर्वदा सर्वसेव्याय श्रीकृष्णाय नमोस्तुते। मदेकबन्धो मत्सङ्गिन् मद्गुरो मन्महादन मन्निष्ठारक मद्भाग्य मदानंद नमोस्तुते। असाधु साधुतातायिन् अतिनीचोच्चकारक आनमुञ्च कदाचिन्मां प्रेम्णा हृत्कण्ठयोऽस्फुर। Want to summarize last class?
I have just written very little that first Jiva Goswami he quotes Narada Tantriya, the shloka, the three Purusha avatars. The one who knows the three Purusha becomes liberated. Out of the three Purushas, he starts to explain the Lord of Mahatattva, that is Mahavishnu. He's the witness of all the total aggregate of all the jivas and the primordial nature where they are in the undifferentiated state. Mahavishnu glances over the Prakriti and the creation starts. For that, he quoted Brihadaranyaka Upanishad and Brahma Samhita. Brahma Samhita shloka says that Mahavishnu Shankarshan, the Lord of Cosmos, appeared within the causal potency. That is 5.8. Brahma Samhita, Purusha having 1,000 heads, 1,000 eyes, and 1,000 legs. Brahma Samhita 5:12 to 13. He's the Narayan portion of Lord Shankarshan, and from him the Karan ocean appears, and the great Bhagwan, where thousands of arms enter the Karana ocean, and he performs the pastimes of Yoga Nidra. And the pose of his body, um, the pose of his body that is the seeds of Sankarshan, previously embedded within the matrix of his creative potency, appeared as universes in the form of golden eggs covered by material elements. The word linga is explained in Brahma Samhita 5.8. The entire cosmic energy is situated in 100 million part of his part. Yasya word was used refers to the supreme Bhagwan Govinda, and the special part of Govinda is known as Shambhu. The same as Vasudev and Mahanarayan. So Shambhu is same as Vasudev and Narayan, not Shiva. And this Shambhu is causal agent. The linga comparable to the causal potency, because this Shambhu is the agency through which the Purusha avatars will appear. So, in other words, the term linga denoting a portion of Sri Govinda is the basis of the primary meaning of the word Shambhu. Linga thus refers as a special portion of Bhagwan alone and is as understood as. Uh, so the Shambhu is the linga of Krishna in both senses. He's his causal agent in the matter of creation, and he also indicates the existence of his source, that is Sri Krishna. Then you spoke about the Chaturvyas. The first one manifests directly from Sri Krishna and consists of Vasudev, Sankarshan, Baldev, Pradyumna, and Aniruddha. These four are supra cosmic forms being situated within the spiritual domain and are worshipable for the devotees. The second Chaturvya is present within the cosmos and is known by the same name. It manifests from Sankarshan of the first quadruple manifestation. This cosmic Chaturvyu exists for the purpose of creation, sustenance, and dissolution of the cosmos. So that then how after generating unlimited universes from the pore of his body, Mahavishnu then enters into each of them as a second Purusha. Brahma Samhita 5.14. The second manifestation is called Garbhodaksha Vishnu. He lies in the Garbhodak ocean in the bottom of his each universe. He is the regulator and Paramatma of the individual universe. There are thus many Garbhodakshai Vishnus as there are universes. Brahma takes birth at the top of the lotus flower that sprouts from Garbhodaksha Vishnu's lotus navel. Brahma Samhita 5.22, Srimad Bhagavatam 1.3.2. And then you did mention that Garbhodaksha Vishnu then expands within as the third manifestation or Purusha called Kshirodaksha Vishnu, the Paramatma for each individual being in the universe. And then the three Purushas expansion are considered to be partial manifestation of Sankarshan. That is Mahavishnu, Pradyumna is Garbhodaksha Vishnu, and Aniruddha is Kshirodaksha Vishnu, respectively. Within an individual universe, Pradyumna becomes the cause of creation by entering Brahma, who has four heads. Sankarshan becomes the cause of dissolution by entering Rudra, and Aniruddha, who is Vishnu himself, personally oversees the sustenance of cosmos. The presiding deities of Chit, Ahankar, Buddhi, Manas are called Vasudev, Sankarshan, Pradyumna, Aniruddha, respectively. So they are the causal partial manifestation of quadruple forms of the spiritual world. Um, yes, Prabhuji. Didn't hear the whole lecture, of course, but still.
So we gave the technical summary, the second anuccheda. Continue the third anuccheda. The short. We'll cover the third to seventh or eighth today. So the second anuccheda, Jiva Goswami explained the three Purushas by quoting the Satvata Tantra or Naradiya Tantra. Vishnostu Trini Rupani Purushakhyanyo Purushakyan Yato Viduhu Pratamam Mahatasrashtru Dvitiyam Tantu Samstitam Tritiyam Sarvabhutasya Tanignatvam Vimochyate. One who knows these three Purushas gets liberated. And then the second Anucheda, he also explained the first Purushavatara, that is Mahavishnu. Then the third Anucheda, he is going to describe the second Purusha. He is quoting the third canto, 8th chapter, 22nd and 23rd shloka, the description of the Garbhodakshai Vishnu. So you can repeat after me. The shloka. Kalena soja purushayushabi. Kalena soja purushayushabi.
कालेन सोज पुरुषाय यूषाभिः
Pravrittayogena virudha
प्रवृत्तयोगेन विरुद्धबोधः
Swayam tadantar hridayeva bhatam
स्वयं तदन्तर्हृदये स्वभासम्
apashyata pashyata yanna purvam
अपश्यता पश्यत यन न पूर्वम्
mrinala gaurayata shesha bhoga
मृणालगौरायत शेषभोग
paryanka ekam purusham shayanam.
पर्यङ्कमेकं पुरुषं शयानम्.
So, Kalena soja purushayushabi pravritta yogena viruda bodha. Due to the perfect engagement in yoga, Pravritta yogena means perfect engagement of yoga. Due to the perfect engagement of yoga, Purusha Ayusha, for the full lifespan of a human being. Purusha Ayusha be, for the full lifespan of a human being. Brahma attained Viruda Bodha, complete awakening. And then Apashyat, he saw self-manifested within his heart. Tad antar hridaye, swayam tad antar hridaye, avabhatam apashyata. He saw self-manifested within his heart, that which he had been unable to see before. Apashyata. He saw the Garbhodaksha Vishnu, because Brahma previously, when he was born from the lotus, he tried to find out the root cause of himself. Although he tried hard by going within the stem of the lotus, but he could not find. And then later he heard the word tapa, and he performed tapasya, and then now he is able to see. So he saw the self-manifested within his heart, that which had been unable to see before. Yan na purvam apashyata. And who was that person? How did he look like? Mrinala Gaura Yatashesha Boga Paryanka Ekam Purusham Shayanam. Ekam Purusham, a Purusha Shayanam was lying on a couch made by a huge body of a Shesha snake, who is Mrinala Gaura, who is white as the fiber of a lotus. Is white as the fiber of a lotus. So I am Garbhodakastaha Sahasra Shirsha Pradyumna Eva. So the Purusha referred to here is the Sahasra Shirsha, 1,000-headed Pradyumna. Garbhodakasta, situated in the Garbhodaka ocean. Situated in the Garbhodaka ocean. So Purushayusha Vatsara Shatena Yogo Bhakti Yogaha. The compound Purushayusha means for the full lifespan of a human being, means for 100 years. Vatsara Shatena. So yoga here refers to Bhakti Yoga. Brahmaji practiced Bhakti Yoga. Only by Bhakti Yoga one can know Krishna. And then further, Etad Agrepi. So this Garbhodaksha Vishnu is also described later in the same chapter of the Bhagavata. The 3.8.29, the same chapter. Avyakta Moolam Bhuvanangri Pendrim Ahindra Bogair Adhivita Valsham. Avyakta Moolam word is used. Moolam means root. Avyakta means invisible. So Avyakta Moolam means whose roots are invisible. Ityatra Avyaktam Pradhanam Moolam Adho Bhago Yasya Ityartaha. That means he, below whom lies the unmanifest, or in other words, he below whom lies the unmanifest, or in other words, the undifferentiated material energy. Bhuvanangri Pendra. The same shloka, 3.8.29. Bhuvanangri Pendram comes. Bhuvanangri Pendram means the king of the tree, that is the world. Bhuvana is the world. Bhuvanangri Pendram, the king of the tree, that is the world. Means Bhuvanani Chaturdasha Tadrupa Angripas tesham indram tan niyantritvena vartamanam ityartah Shri Maitreya Viduram. So that means Bhuvanangri Pendra means one who exists as the controller of the trees in the form of the 14 planetary systems. So one who exists as the controller of the trees in the form of the 14 planetary systems. So the third canto, 8th chapter shloka is quoted basically for the description of the Garbhodakshai Vishnu. A short commentary. The description given in the verses is of Garbhodakshai Vishnu, who lies at the bottom of the universe. After creating the universe, he enters it and fills half of it with water from his body and then lies on it. He is the Paramatma of the individual universe, its regulator. So somebody can read next paragraph.
In each universe, there is a corresponding creator god or architect known as Brahma, who is born at the top of a lotus flower sprouted from the navel of Garbhodakasai Vishnu. In the second canto, from which this report is taken, Brahma saw darkness all around and unsuccessfully tried to find the source of the lotus. Then he heard the instruction to engage in penance. Bhagavan was pleased with him and revealed to him his form. The verses cited in this section describe Brahma's experience on seeing Bhagavan. In verse 298, it is said that Brahma meditated for 1,000 years. Sri Jiva comments in Kramasandarbha that the discrepancy in the durations of time is due to a difference in kalpas. That is, that one version takes place in Brahma Kalpa, while the present description is of the Padma Kalpa.
The second canto, it is described that Brahma meditated for 1,000 years. But here, Jiva Goswami is saying that Vatsara Shatena Yogo for 100 years. So why the difference? Because of the difference in the kalpa. So this verse is a brief description of the Garbhodakshai Vishnu. Now the third anuccheda, the description of the Shirodakshai Vishnu. A verse from the second canto, second chapter is quoted. Second canto, second chapter, Jiva Goswami, Shukdev Goswami describes the Paramatma. So somebody can recite. Kechit swadehantar hridayavakashe.
Go ahead.
Yeah, Mataji, you can.
Please, no problem. Please go. Kechit swatentrat hridayavakashe.
Pradeshamatram purusham vasantam.
Pradeshamatram purusham vasantam.
Chaturbhujam kanjaratanga shanka.
Chaturbhujam kanchataraka shanka.
Gadadharam dharanaya smaranti.
Gadadaram dharanaya smaranti.
Kechit, some people meditate with fixed attention. Dharanaya smaranti, meditate with fixed attention on the Purusham, Vasantam, who is residing in the Swadehantar Hridayavakashi, in the space of the heart of their own bodies. Pradesha Matram, measuring the span of the thumb and the forefinger. Chaturbhujam, he has 4 arms. Kanja Ratanga Shanka Gadadaram, and he holds a lotus, disc, conch, and a club. So Pradeshas, what is the Pradesh? Pradesha Matram. Pradesha means Pradeshas Tarjanya Angushtayor Vistaras Tat Pramanam. So according to the standard of the Brahma Sutra, Pradesha is a unit of the measurement equal to the distance between the forefinger and the thumb of the outspread hand. Distance between the forefinger, this is forefinger, na? Forefinger and the thumb of the outspread hand. And then, but the measure of Kridyapekshaya Manushyadikaratvat iti nyayena. But the measure of Paramatma is spoken with reference to the human heart. Because it is only human being alone who are eligible for meditation on him. So, you can read the commentary. Somebody can read.
Paramatma is situated in every living being's heart. The size of Paramatma is stated as being that of a Pradesha, which is defined in Pradesha, Pradesha, which is defined in lexicons as being the length from the tip of the thumb to that of the forefinger. A doubt may be raised here. The size of the heart varies from one species to another. There are many species that are themselves smaller than the Pradesha in size. Some have a heart that is smaller, while others may have one much bigger than a Pradesha. Then why is the measure of Paramatma described as the size of a Pradesha? This is answered in the Brahma Sutra 1.3.25, which says that the measure of Paramatma in reference to human beings and not to other species of life. That the measure of Paramatma is in reference to human beings and not to other species of life. Since the scriptures are intended for humans alone and not for animals, it is only humans who can meditate. Thus, the size of Pradesha is relative to the human heart. Another doubt is raised. In the Katha Upanishad, Paramatma being residing in the body is said to be the size of a thumb. Angushta Matra. Purusho Madhya Atmani Tishtati. 2.1.12. The size of a thumb is much less than a Pradesha. How can we reconcile these two descriptions? The answer is that Paramatma is neither the size of a Pradesha nor that of a thumb, but appears according to the intention of the meditator. He does not have a fixed size, because whether he is the size of a thumb or a Pradesha, his dimension will stay vary from person to person and species to species. Therefore, he takes the size desired by his devotee. This is confirmed by Brahma in his prayers, Srimad Bhagavatam 3.9.11, to Paramatma, whom he saw after 100 years of meditation, as described in the previous section. Yeah, Hare Krishna.
Brahma's prayer is that Tvam Bhakti Yoga Paribhavita Hritsaroja Asve Shrutekshita Pato Nanunata Pumsam Yadyadiyata Urugaya Vibhavayanti Tattat Vapu Pranayase Sadanugrahaya. The Lord appears according to the mood of the devotee in the appropriate form. This is the description of the third Purusha, Kshirodakshai Vishnu. Now the next Anucheda, next two Anuchedas, he talks about the oneness of the many Purushas. So, evam Purushasya aneka vidatve api drishtantena aikyam upapadayati. So, although there are multiple forms of the Purusha, they are one. I was quoting a shloka from Jadabharat's instruction to Rahuguna, 5.11.14. So somebody can repeat. Yatanilasthavarajang Yatanilasthavarajangamaanam
यथानिलः स्थावरजङ्गमानाम्
आत्मस्वरूपेण निविष्ट ईशेत्
आत्मस्वरूपेण निविष्ट ईशेत
एवं परो भगवान् वासुदेवः
एवं परो भगवान् वासुदेवः
क्षेत्रज्ञ आत्मेदमनुप्रविष्टः
क्षेत्रज्ञ आत्मेदम् अनुप्रविष्टः
यथा अनिलः, just as the air, although situated externally, nivishta enters all moving beings, all moving and stationary beings. Stavara jangamana enters all moving and stationary beings in the form of the vital birth, in the form of the vital breath, Atma Swarupena, and thus regulates them. So has the supreme transcendent Bhagavan Vasudeva, who is the witness of all the fields, and the immanent self entered, who is the witness of all the fields, and the immanent self entered this creation. So the example given is that the air enters all the stationary and moving living beings. And within the body, there are different airs are there. Prana Vayu, Apana Vayu, Vyana Vayu, Udana Vayu, Samana Vayu. But the air is one only. But they are called by different names based on the different places in which that air is moving. So similarly, there is only oneness of the many Puruṣas. There is only one Puruṣa who manifests as the Mahavishnu, Garbhodakshaya Vishnu, or Kshirodakshaya Vishnu. So Atma Swarupena, Prana Rupena Nivishta, Ished, Isheta, Niyamayati, Idam Vishwam, Shrutishcha, Kata Upanishad. So the compound Atma Swarupena, in its essential nature, qualifying the air, means in the form of the vital breath, prana, means in the form of the vital breath. Having entered the living beings in this form, it controls them, ishet, niyamayati, meaning that it regulates them. The pronoun idam refers to the universe. Evam paro Bhagavan Vasudeva Kshetrajya Atmedam Anupravishtaha. And this also confirmed the Shruti, the Kata Upanishad. You can recite this, Kata Upanishad. Vayuryataikho bhuvanam pravishto
वायुरथेको भुवनं प्रविष्टो
रूपं प्रतिरूपो बभूव
रूपं प्रतिरूप बहुव
एकस्तथा सर्वभूतान्तरात्मा
एकस्तथा सर्वभूतान्तरात्मा
रूपं प्रतिरूपो बहिश्च.
रूपं प्रतिरूपो बहिश्च.
So just as air, although one, enters into the universe and every form within the universe, assuming separate forms corresponding to each particular shape, rupam pratirupa babuva. Similarly, the one self within all living beings enter each form, adopting a corresponding shape, even while still existing outside them. Rupam pratirupa bahushya. So this is a verse which confirms the, from the Kata Upanishad, which confirms the Bhagavatam shloka. So in the previous three anucchedas, the three distinct Paramatmas are explained. Mahavishnu, Garbhodakshaya Vishnu, and Kshirodakshaya Vishnu. So the Kshirodakshaya Vishnu exists in the heart of every living entity. So now the question arises that is there are there many Paramatmas or only one Paramatma? So Jiva Goswami replies that there is only one Paramatma. So in fact, the absolute reality is only one. Vadanti tat tattvavidas tattvam yadya tattvam yad vadanti tat tattvavidas tattvam yadgyanam advayam. The tattva is non-dual. There is only one. That is the fundamental teaching of the Bhagavata Purana. So the example is given as that the vital prana is one, but it functions and regulates each living being separately. So according to Ayurveda, all our bodily functions depend on the vital prana. All the movements of the hands, feet, eyes, etc. depend on the life force. Any disturbance in the prana will create some malfunction in the body. But ultimately, the air is only one. Similarly, the air enters different houses and takes the shape of that house, Pratirupa. And therefore, it appears in as many shapes as there are houses. But the air is only one. The same way, Paramatma, who is undifferentiated and all-pervading, appears in all beings while remaining as one. There is only one Paramatma. The next anuccheda, he also offers one more shloka to support the again from Bhagavatam, but from 10th canto. You can repeat after me. Eka eva parokhyatma
Eka eva parohatma
sarveshameva dehinam
sarveshameva dehinam
naneva grihyate mudaihi
naneva grihyate mudaihi
yatha jyotiryatha nabah.
yata jyotiryata nabah.
So this verse is spoken by Baladev to Rukmini. When Krishna kidnapped Rukmini and Krishna was taking away Rukmini, that time Rukmi came to fight with Krishna. That time Krishna defeated Rukmi and Krishna bound Rukmi. So at that time Baladev comes there. Baladev, when Krishna kidnapped Rukmini, while the later one was to worship the Devi, Rukmi became furious and chased Krishna. So Krishna defeated Rukmi and Krishna wanted to kill Rukmi. But at that time Rukmini intervened. So therefore Krishna spared Rukmi's life and Krishna cut his hair and the moustache. So Rukmini was very sad to see the plight of her brother. So at that time Baladev consoled her with the teaching on the Supreme Self. Baladev speaks this shloka. Eka eva parokhyatma. Although the Supreme Self of all embodied beings is indeed one. Eka eva. Sarvesham eva dehina. But naneva grihyate is perceived as if manifold mudaihi by the ignorant people. Yata jyotir yata namaha. Just as luminous planet appears as many when reflected in different reservoirs of water. And just as all pervading space is conceived as divided when enclosed by different parts. So two analogies are given. Jyotir yata nabha. Yata jyotihi yata nabha. So sun planet, suppose the moon planet is there. There are 100 parts are there. That one moon planet is reflected in 100 parts. So a foolish person thinks that, oh, there are 100 moons are there. But actually there is only one moon planet, but it is reflected in each part in 100. Each of those 100 parts has 100 moons. So foolish people think that there are 100 moons are there. Similarly, the Nabaha means space. Akasha is only one, but based on the different container, the Akasha is divided into that many number as the number of containers. So foolish people think that there are many Akasha, but there is only one Akasha. So Dehinam means Jivanam, Atma, Paramatma, Sri Baladevaha Rukmini. Embodied being refers to the living entities. The Atma here means the Supreme Self or the Paramatma. So the oneness of the Paramatma is described in verse number 5 and 6. Again, in the 7th Anuccheda, he is giving the third quotation. He is giving the third quotation, how there is one Paramatma is present in all the bodies. If somebody can repeat, this is from the Uddhav Gita, 11th canto. Yeka yeva parokhyatma.
एक एव हि परो आत्मा एक एव परो ह्यात्मा
भूतेष्वात्मन्यवस्थितः
भूतेष्वात्मन्यवस्थितः
यथेन्दुरुदपात्रेषु
यतेन्दुरुदपात्रेषु
भूतान्येकात्मकानि च.
भूतान्येकात्मकानि च.
So far 3 analogies are given. How the one air enters into different bodies and functions in different ways. Or just as the one luminary is reflected in many ways. Or one Akasha is conceived as divided by the different parts. Similarly, there is only one Paramatma who is perceived as different Paramatma, but there is only one Paramatma. So here again, similar example, instead of Jyotisha, here directly he mentions the name moon. Hindu means moon. Just as the moon, although the moon is only one, but Udapatreshu reflected in numerous parts filled with the water. Similarly, one Supreme Self alone is present as a self, interior to all living beings, and the bodies too are of the same essence. And the bodies too are of one essence. So here one more additional point is mentioned. So the Paramatma is there is only one Paramatma. And similarly, the bodies of the individual living entities, they are also of one essence only. Bhutani ekatmakani cha. So bhuteshu jiveshu eka eva para atma. There is only one Supreme Self, Paramatma, interior to all living beings. That is the Jivatmas. Natu asau Jivavat tatra tatra lipto bhavati. This Paramatma is not implicated in these bodies like the living entities. Jivavat tatra tatra lipto bhavati. Natu asau. Unlike the Jiva, the Paramatma is always remains in a transcendental position. Ityaha Atmani Swaswarupa eva avastitaha. Atmani Swaswarupa eva avastitaha. So therefore Krishna is saying that Paramatma is present as the self, Atmani, meaning that Paramatma is situated exclusively in his own Swarupa or intrinsic being. And Bhutani Jiva Deha Api, Bhutani means Jiva Deha Api, Yena Karana Rupena येन कारणरूपै नैकात्मकानि इति. Or if you split the sandhi, yena karanarupena ekatmakani iti. So the bhutani means the bodies of the living entities. And these bodies of the living entities also have a single essence due to having him alone as the common cause. Because the common cause of all the bodies is Paramatma. Because all the bodies are made of the external energy of the Paramatma. Paramatma is the common cause. So therefore, all the bodies are of the single essence. So, Sri Bhagavan Uddhavam. Krishna spoke to Uddhava. I'll read the commentary. So the Paramatma is one alone and not many. And there is a distinction. There is a distinct jiva present in each different body, whereas the Paramatma is one only. So this appears contradictory and requires explanation. So here it is illustrated through the example of one moon reflected in many parts full of clear water. In such a case, the moon appears as many, but although it is only one. The dissimilarity in this example is that Paramatma does not merely reflect himself in the world, but is actually present with all his potencies. So every analogy has a similarity and a dissimilarity. The analogy given is moon reflected in the different parts of water. Similarly, Paramatma is present in every living entity's body. But in the case of the moon's reflection only is present in all the parts. But in the case of the Paramatma does not merely reflect himself in the world, but is actually present with all his potencies interior to each living being, while maintaining his singular identity. This is something amazing, actually. In the case of the moon's reflection is only present in all the parts. But Paramatma is actually present with all his potencies interior to each living being, while manifesting his singular identity. So, a better example to illustrate Paramatma's inseparable unity is that of the empty space enclosed in different parts. Although the space in each part appears distinct due to the demarcation created by the parts, but it is essentially one single space. The Akasha is one only. On the other hand, the example of the moon reflected in water parts, has the advantage that it depicts or implies the Paramatma's complete presence in each living being. So each example has a certain advantage, certain disadvantage. In the case of the Akasha, the empty space, the Akasha appears different because of the demarcation created by the parts. Each part appears distinct. In the case of the moon's reflection, the complete moon, of course, the reflected moon is present in each part. But in the case of the Akasha, one particular part of Akasha is there in one part. Another particular part of the Akasha is in another part. Another portion of the Akasha is in another part. So, on the other hand, the example of the moon reflected in water part has the advantage that it depicts or implies Paramatma's complete presence in each living being. But on this point, the example of demarcated space is weaker, because in the analogy, it is only a portion of all pervading space that is enclosed in a particular part. Moreover, the moon has individuality, unlike space. So on this point too, it serves as a fitting basis of comparison with the self. It is appropriate, therefore, that Krishna offers the example of the reflection of the moon as a metaphor for the self. So in the Baladev speaking to Rukmini, in that Baladev gave the example of Jyotishi. Jyotishi, any luminous planet, it can be moon also, reflected in the parts, or the Naba, Akasha. And in the Uddhav Gita example is moon reflected in the different parts. So next paragraph is interesting. The next Jiva Goswami will describe Paramatma's conscious portions. Paramatma's conscious portions, which are of two categories. One is the self-same, that is called as Swamsha. Another is the Vibhinnamsha, the differentiator. So all the Vedantis accept that there is only one absolute reality. This is the feature of the Vedanta that distinguishes it from the other Vedic philosophical schools, such as Nyaya school, Sankhya school, and so on. In the Vedanta school, there is only one absolute reality, Advaya Jnanam. But the difficulty, the guardian knot for the Vedanta philosophy. Can somebody give the meaning of guardian knot? Guardian knot, for dictionary meaning, if somebody can see, give. What I can infer is that the difficult part or some challenge. So the guardian knot for the Vedanta
Prabhu,
philosophy.
it says
Yes.
sorry. Guardian knot is actually, it says, is extremely complex, intricate, or seemingly impossible.
Yes.
That's
So
the meaning, yes.
the guardian knot for the Vedanta philosophy is to accommodate a multiplicity of conscious beings and empirical variety within the one invisible reality. The Vedanta school says that there is only one reality. But then in this world, we see so much of varieties. So many living beings are there. So many infinite conscious living beings are there. And then there is also variety in the matter, material elements, empirical variety. So how do you how do you accommodate the multiplicity of conscious beings and empirical variety within the one indivisible reality? The Shankaracharya school, Advaitavada, cuts this knot by not assigning any ontological reality to empirical existence. That means they say that Brahma Satyam Jagan Mithya. This world is false, actually. Apart from that formless Brahman, everything else is Mithya. Everything else is true only in the Vyavaharika world. By saying that, by not assigning any ontological reality to the empirical existence. So this radical, yet ultimately constricted approach is not appreciated by the Vaishnava Vedanta. Why? Because it belittles the transcendental identity of Bhagavan and the value of devotion to him. Because according to this Advaitavada theory, even the transcendental identity of Bhagavan is actually is something in Sattva Guna only. And Bhakti is also, we perform Bhakti as long as we are embodied, till we merge into the formless entity. So therefore, this is not appreciated by the Vaishnava Vedanta because it belittles the transcendental identity of Bhagavan and the value of devotion to him. So for the Vaishnava Vedantas, the world is real. Real but temporary. Real because it's a manifestation of Bhagavan's energy. The one Bhagavan manifests his energies in various ways. So one of the important topics that is dealt with at length later in the Paramatma Sandarbha is how the empirical world manifests from the potency of Paramatma. But this topic will come later in the Paramatma Sandarbha. But before this topic, Jiva Goswami first establishes that Paramatma is the unconditional cause and support of the cosmos as the immanent self. That's what he has done so far in this anuccheda. Having done that, then he begins to explain the two main categories of the Paramatma's expansions, Swamsha and Vibhinnamsha. Swamsha comes the avatars and Vibhinnamsha comes the Jivatmas. So first he describes the Swamsha, the avatars of Paramatma. From Anuccheda 8 to 18. And then from the 19th Anuccheda, he will describe the Jivatma, the qualities of Jivatma. So among the avatars, there are various avatars are there. Leela avatars, Guna avatars, etc. Leela avatars will be described in the Krishna Sandarbha. But Jiva Goswami is particularly going to describe the Gunavataras of Paramatma because Gunavataras are related to the creation, sustenance and dissolution of the cosmos. They come under the jurisdiction of the Paramatma. So starting from the 8th Anuccheda till the 18th Anuccheda is going to describe the Gunavatara. So this is a very interesting section. The position of Shiva, Brahma, Vishnu will be very nicely explained from various there are different shlokas from the Bhagavatam we will go through this. So we'll begin the 8th Anuccheda. The Gunavatarasa Paramatma. Any questions so far?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. I mean, I'm not qualified to ask any questions because I'm not regular, but still with little understanding of this particular session. So, Prabhuji, few points is first the point was made that Paramatma exists with this Swarupa, right? In a Swarupa. So that was said. And then later the two analogies of this, the metaphor of this moon reflected on different, on different platform, and then the air occupied in different pots is given, Prabhuji. And there was one more point that was mentioned that Paramatma comes with this full potency. Like in each jiva, within each jiva, wherever it exists is full potency. Now, Prabhuji, the first question is, and it was also said that the different species, realize Paramatma as per their desire, as per their realization, right, Prabhuji? Now, in that case, so the first question is, why should the Paramatma, or why is that Paramatma, existing with this full potency in all species of life, in all jivas, when the potency of the jiva differ, right? When they are not the same. So why should the Paramatma be there with full potency? And when we say that the Paramatma is realized according to the jiva's desire or capacity, so in that case, more than the moon metaphor, will the sky metaphor or the air metaphor will not be more suitable there, Prabhuji? According to the jiva's capacity when he is realized, so which means according to the pot's capacity, the air is stored or air is realized, right? The space is realized, right, Prabhuji? So in that case, the second one will be more appropriate, right, Prabhuji?
In the case of the space or the space metaphor, Akasha is actually, there is only one Akasha which is unlimited, but that unlimited Akasha is demarcated by each different parts. And a person perceives different manifestations of Akasha. There is only one, although there is only one Akasha. In the case of the moon, this one, the reflection of the moon in the different parts of water, you see the complete moon. Although it's a reflection, you see the complete moon in each part. So in the case of the Paramatma, this example is in one sense a little more suitable because the same complete Paramatma is there in each living entity's heart. Even in the heart of a worm in the stool, the same Paramatma is there. Of course, the size of the Paramatma will be less, as you said, according to the size of the particular living entity. But the size of the Paramatma, although it is small, but the potency of the Paramatma is same. Potency of the Paramatma is same. Even in the Paramatma who is there in the heart of a, say, insect or a worm in the stool, the potency of the Paramatma is same. The size of the Paramatma will be small. So in that sense, the moon metaphor is applicable. So different metaphors are given. Every metaphor has some similarity, some dissimilarity is there. But the essential point which is made is that there is only one air which is manifest as many in different bodies. There is only one Akasha which is manifest as different Akashas in different parts. There is only one moon. Similarly, there is only one Paramatma who appears to be many, who manifests as different Paramatmas in different bodies. This much, if you understand, that is sufficient.
Okay, Prabhuji. Yeah, thank you. And sorry, one very basic question I have, Prabhuji. Now, what's the difference between Brahman and Paramatma in terms of functionality? So both are all-pervading, right? And Paramatma is the cause of the material world. So then, what is the role of Brahman then?
The Paramatma has qualities. He has a form. Paramatma has activity also. Paramatma's form is described. His qualities are Upadrashta. He is Upadrashta, Anumanta, Bharta, Bhokta, Maheshwaraha. Paramatma's activities are described. His qualities is like a neutral judge. He is actually presenting. He is present in every living entity's heart. His quality is there. But in the case of the Brahman, there is no quality, there is no form, there are no activities. Paramatma is there only within the material realm. In the spiritual realm, there is Brahman and Bhagavan. There is no Paramatma in the spiritual realm. Or the Bhagavan himself plays the role of Paramatma. But there is no Paramatma in the spiritual realm. In the spiritual realm, there is Brahman. In the light emanating from the body of the Supreme Lord, that is the Brahman. The formless Brahman. And the Bhagavanatva.
But in terms of functionality, Prabhuji, like, for example, one functional that we know is Paramatma is there, he's there in the heart of all the living entities and he guides them, right? The analogy of two birds, all these are given.
Right.
But with respect to Brahman, so what is the actual function of the Brahman?
Function, there is no function actually. By
Nirguna.
definition, Brahman means no quality, no activity, no form. There is no functionality only.
Okay.
Not because there is no function only.
So, like in that case, with respect to, as you said, the Brahman is there in both spiritual world and material world, and Paramatma is the main cause of the material world. So as far as the material world goes, it's the Paramatma who's 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 the main entity there. Then the Brahman also, can we say that, Prabhuji?
Yeah, Brahman is the formless aspect of the absolute truth, the effulgence of the absolute truth, effulgence from the body of the Supreme Lord.
So that much
That
understanding.
is, that was the-
Okay, okay. Yeah, thank you very much, Prabhuji. And sorry once again for
no,
some very
nothing.
basic explanation.
No. Good, Prabhuji.
Thank you.
So we will begin the 8th Anucheda little bit and then continue in the next shloka. So we are here. Evam ekasya purushasya nanatvam upapadya tasya punaramsha vivriyante. After thus establishing the various forms of the one Purusha, his portions will now be further described. Tasya punar amsha vivriyante. His portions will now be further described. Atra divida amshaha. There are two amshas of the Paramatma. Swamsha vibhimnamshascha. Self-same and differentiated. Vibhimnamshas tatastha shaktyatmaka jiva iti vakshyate. It will be described that the Vibhinna Amshas are the living beings, the Jivatmas, who are of the nature of the intermediary potency. That is the Shakti. Swamshastu Gunalilat Avatara Bhedena Vividaha. The Swamshas are of various types. It can be Leelavatara, Gunavatara, and so on. Other avatars also. Tatra Leeladya avataraha prasanga sangatya Sri Krishna sandarbhe vakshante. The Leela avatars will be described in the Sri Krishna sandarbha, Anucheda 6 to 26. Because that is the relevance of the context to that. Gunavatara yata. So now we will begin the description of the Gunavataras. The Gunavataras are summarized by the Drumila to Nimi Maharaj. 11th canto, Navayogendra Samvada, 11th canto, 4th chapter, 5th shloka. So somebody can repeat. Adavabu chatadriti rajasasya sarge
तावभूच्य तदधृति रजसास्य सर्गे
vishnustithau kratupatir dvijadharma setuhu.
विष्णुस्थितौ क्रतुपतिदृज्य धर्मसेतुः
Rudro yayaya tamasa purushas adya
रुद्रो ययाय तमसा पुरुषः स आद्य
Yityudbhavasthitilaya satatam prajasu.
इत्युद्ध्वस्तिलया सततं प्रजासु.
So the Adau Abhut Shatadriti, the primeval Purusha, that primeval Purusha united with the Rajas, Rajasasya Sarge, united with the Rajas, appeared in the beginning as Brahma for the creation of this universe. And then for its sustenance, he appeared as Bhagavan Vishnu. Vishnu Stitau Kratupadir Dvija Dharma Setu. The Lord of the Kratupati, the consecrated action, and the Dharma Setu, the protector of Dharma, under the Faizban. Kratupatir Dvija Dharma Setuhu. And Rudropyaya Tamasa. And he appeared as Rudra for its destruction. This is how creation, preservation, and destruction of the generations regularly proceed. So, it yudbhava sthitilaya sadatam prajasu. So, now he explains this particular shloka. Sa yugapat गुणत्रयादिष्टात् अधिष्ठाताद्यः पुरुषः पृथक् पृथक् अपि तत्तत् गुणादिष्टानलीलयैव आदौ रजसा अस्य जगतः सर्गे विसर्गे कार्ये शतधृतिर ब्रह्मा अभूत्. So that primeval Purusha, Yugapat, simultaneously, Gunatraya Adhishtata, simultaneously presides over the three gunas of nature. Even so, it is simply out of transcendental play of presiding over the various gunas individually that he also became Brahma in the beginning for the creation of the universe, which here means for the secondary creation. So Brahma's role is secondary creation, Visarga. The primary creation is done by Vishnu only, enacted through the Rajoguna. Asya Jagata Sarge means Visarge Karye Shatadrite Brahma Abhut. Adav Rajasa to the Rajoguna. And then Stitau Vishnuhu Satvena iti Sheshaha. For the sustenance of the universe, the Purusha became Vishnu. Through the guna of Sattva guna is to be added after the word Vishnu. The word Satvena is not explicitly mentioned in the shloka, but that should be added after the Vishnu in the shloka. Tatra Sakshat Gunanuktischa Tasya Atirohita Swarupataya Tat Sambandopacharasya Yuttankhanam Ayuktam Ityabhiprayena. In this verse, however, there is no explicit mention of the Sattva because Bhagavan's original nature in the Vishnu form is not eclipsed while carrying out the act of sustenance. And thus, it would have been improper to express even figuratively in relation with Sattva Guna. Why the word Sattvena is not explicitly mentioned in the shloka? Because the reason is that Bhagavan's original nature, original transcendental nature is not eclipsed, it's not covered when he carries out the act of creation, maintenance. It's not that Bhagavan's transcendental nature becomes covered by Sattva Guna when he performs maintenance. He remains in the transcendental position. Therefore, it would have been improper to express even figuratively a relation with Sattva Guna. And then Palana Kartritvena Kratupatis Tat Paladata. As a sustainer, the Lord is Vishnu is the Lord of the consecrated action. Kratu means sacrifice. Vishnu is the Lord of the consecrated action, meaning that he is the bestower of the results. Agam hi sarva yagyana bhokta cha prabhurevacha. Yajna rupastu Leelavataram Madhyayeva Shri Brahmana Dvitiye Ganitaha. His form as Yajna, the sacramental offering personified, has been counted among the Leelavataras by Brahma in the second canto. Dvijanam dharmanam cha setuhu palaka ityartah. He is the bridge, Vishnu is the bridge to cross over to the final destination. Meaning that he is protector of the twice born and of religious integrity. He is the protector of Dvija and the Dharma. And then Tamasa Tasyapyayaya Rudro Bhud Ityanena Prakarena Uddhava Stitilaya Bhavanti Iti. For the destruction of the universe, through the Tamoguna, he became Rudra. Rudraha Abhut. So, Anena Prakarena Udbhava Stitilaya Bhavanti Iti. In this way, creation, sustenance, and dissolution occur. Atra Brahma Rudrayor Avataravasaro Moksha Dharme Viviktosti. The occasions of the descents of Brahma and Rudra are ascertained in the Moksha Dharma section of the Mahabharata. So he is quoting from the Moksha Dharma where Krishna is speaking to, I think, Arjuna. So this part will we'll start from this in the next class. Moksha Dharma section. And then the 9th, 10th Anucheda will complete. Possible 11th house. Hare Krishna. Any questions?
So, Prabhuji, the primeval Lord Purusha here refers to all of them, all the three Vishnus, or it's the Kshirodakasai Vishnu, from whom the Vishnu, in charge of Sattva Gun manifest.
Yeah, Kshirodakasai Vishnu.
Okay.
He is the maintenance of the Vantarona creation.
Okay.
So, Prabhuji, how yourself mentioned about that Paramatma has no role in the spiritual world. So it's like at the end of the creation cycle when the material elements merge back into the primordial nature. At that time, the conditioned living being, along with Prakriti, they are enfolded within the body of Paramatma, and that merges into Narayan. And so that's why that Paramatma will have no function during the dissolution period, because therefore Paramatma merges into Narayan. Is it like that?
The dissolution.
Yeah. So during the dissolution period, the body of
All the
Paramatma.
living entities enter the body of the
Hmm.
Mahavishnu, and they sleep in the body of Mahavishnu. Paramatma is there, he is in the Yoga Nidra. And the living entities are also sleeping along with the Mahavishnu, who is in Yoga Nidra.
So Paramatma will have no function during the dissolution period.
No.
Hmm. And Paramatma merges into Narayan then. Is it? During the dissolution.
Paramatma, same. There are so many universes are there. Like, there are unlimited universes. When one universe is undergoing dissolution, other universes are functioning. So it's not that one universe got annihilated, then some other universe is functioning. In that universe, whatever living entities are there, they go into sleep along with the body and mind. But the other universes, the other unlimited universes are going on. In the sense that there Garbhodakshaya Vishnu is functioning, Kshirodakshaya Vishnu is there. one universe which got annihilated, those living entities go and sleep in the body of Mahamsha.
Prabhuji, is it possible to send the lecture today, tonight, or tomorrow, Sunday? No, we can revise.
Website.
Okay. Thank you.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam. Prabhuji, so when the living entity attains the spiritual world, so he gets the spiritual body. As
Yes.
per you said that Brahma's breath, that the Guru Gaya, in whatever form he worships, he will go there, either Vaikuntha or Goloka. So there, Prabhu, in the spiritual body, so in the heart, now here we have Paramatma of the size of the thumb and all that we studied here. So there is no Paramatma in the spiritual body. We have directly Supreme Lord with whom we interact. Is it that the correct understanding?
Bhagavan himself acts as the Paramatma. Bhagavan himself. Because in the material world, Paramatma's role is witnessing every person's desires. But in the we began with the Paramatma Sandarbha. I'll again show you that the very beginning of the Paramatma Sandarbha, the first anuccheda. Now Paramatma will be explained. Although the Paramatma aspect of Bhagavan exists in the spiritual domain of Vaikuntha also, but that Paramatma is just a function of Bhagavan himself. In the Vaikuntha, Bhagavan only plays the role of Paramatma. There is no separate Paramatma. But in the material world, we began with this. For this reason, Paramatma is said to be that feature of Bhagavan that pertains specifically to the cosmos.
I remember, yes. Now I remember. Yes, it's very good. Thank you.
Okay, we'll end here. Tuesday we'll continue from the 8th Anuccheda. Nantara Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Jiva Goswami Prabhupada ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ki jai.
Thank you very much, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Rich.